Florida contract lawsuits, interpreting contracts, breach of contract in Florida, and what you need to know about special damages. Hello, my name is John P.L.L.C. I'm a probate litigation attorney with the P.L.L.C. law firm in downtown West Palm Beach, Florida. Our trial lawyers and paralegals handle trials, disputes, and appeals involving wills, trusts, estates, guardianships, and related business and commercial litigation, as well as litigation and trials involving real estate, homestead, financial accounts, bank accounts, and life insurance contracts. I'm going to be speaking to you for a moment on breach of contract in Florida, breach of the provision or the implied provision of good faith and fair dealing in a Florida contract, as well as special damages. Why would a probate litigation attorney be speaking about these business litigation or commercial or corporate matters? And the answer to that is because in our probate litigation practice, our estate litigation practice, while we don't draft wills and trusts, and we don't write estate plans or contracts or prenuptial agreements for that matter, many times we're called upon to either challenge them, interpret them, or defend them when somebody passes away. This is very common in the divorce or family law matter when somebody had a marital settlement agreement, or they had a settlement agreement in a estate litigation case, or they had an order from a divorce court or a family court dividing property between the two divorcing spouses, and maybe one spouse was required or ordered or commanded to do something and they didn't do it. So many times our lawyers, our trial lawyers, are litigating over what a particular contract says or marital settlement agreement or settlement agreement says, and what the terms are and whether they are ambiguous or unambiguous. And remember, a settlement agreement in Florida is a contract, right? And probate lawyers in Florida know that many times we're ordered to mediation, right? The parties are required to attend a mediation conference, a settlement conference, in advance of your probate trial. So I know in Palm Beach County, the probate court judges regularly order mediation prior to going to trial. It's part of our process, and most experienced Florida trust lawyers or probate attorneys will tell you that mediation often works. It can be a slow process. Mediation can be even frustrating, but in many times it works. It allows the parties, the heirs, the beneficiaries, the spouses, family members to an estate dispute to resolve their inheritance fight or their inheritance lawsuit without going to trial. So you may want to read the Aturn Case, A-H-E-A-R-N. The site is 180 Southern 3rd, 165. It's a November 6, 2015 case. Rehearing was denied on December 18, 2015 from Florida's 1st District Court of Appeal. It's an appellate decision from a Florida appeals court regarding breach of contract in Florida, the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing, and also special damages. Now, if you're reading a settlement agreement, or if you're reading a marital settlement agreement or some type of contract where one party was supposed to do something and the other party was supposed to do something, there's back and forth, there's give and take, there's consideration, and somebody breaches that agreement, like doesn't comply with the settlement agreement or doesn't comply with the marital settlement agreement, do you know what your rights are? Can you sue for breach of contract, and how do you do that? If a particular provision is violated in your marital settlement agreement or your estate settlement agreement, can you also sue for a breach of the implied covenant of good faith? Under what circumstances can you sue for that under a Florida contract? And finally, special damages. We know there's different types of damages in Florida. There's out-of-pocket damages, there's damages that are reasonably foreseeable, and sometimes there's special damages or consequential damages, which may or may not include attorney's fees to litigate the matter that's at stake. Do you know how to plead for special damages? And do you know that if you don't plead for special damages, generally you can't receive them at trial, right? You can only get the relief that's requested at trial, and that's generally limited to the four corners of your complaint. What relief did you seek? So if you're involved in estate litigation or a probate matter that involves either a settlement agreement that hasn't been complied with, such as a mediated settlement agreement, or a marital settlement agreement where one of the divorcing spouses has passed away, know what your rights are if one of the parties violates that contract or that agreement, know how to plead for damages, know how to recover your rights, and consider the issues that are raised in the Aturn case. My name is John P.L.L.C. This concludes my remarks about Florida probate litigation and breach of contract.